Hello there. So today we're going to be talking about employers being the driving force of apprenticeships. So my name is Andrea Jackson, and I'm an avid believer in ensuring that the learner and the employer is at the heart of training provision. I help training providers to feel confident in the face of an Ofsted inspection. I ask learners, employers and staff questions based on the educational inspection framework to gauge the impact of the training. I identify themes and then support the providers to add and drive through systems and processes that improve that impact. And this means that Ofsted inspections are not to be feared and continual improvements are made with the emphasis on quality. So, employers at the driving force of apprenticeships. Now, this is part of the Skills for Jobs white paper that came out. So I have got some notes here because I can't get this information wrong. Okay, so I have got notes. So how should we work with employers when supporting the apprentice? I have said many times that the planning of the apprenticeship should take place at the start of the apprenticeship before the sign up. Because unless you know that everybody knows where they are, how the job's going to be done, how the off the job's training going to take place, it's no good signing somebody up because they are heading for a fall. Okay, we have had previous legislation that this should be so, because it's documented that there is widespread practice of recruiting apprentices whilst providing little or no training in a context and where the 280 guided learning hours required are spent entirely on assessment of skills in the workplace. Let's say that again. So we've got legislation that says there should be 20% off the job training, etc., and yet the inspectors are going out and they are seeing that some of the guided learning hours, or the whole 280 guided learning hours, are being spent entirely on the assessment of skills in the workplace. So there's no parallel at all with working with the employer. The trainer provides some training, but the employer is lacking in providing a planned program to the job training that fits seamlessly into the apprenticeship program. So again, what has been found is that actually there's no planning between the employer and the training provider. There's no team apprenticeship, which we know there should be. There should be the apprenticeship, the apprentice, there should be the training provider, and there should be the employer as a group moving towards gaining this apprenticeship. That's what should be happening. And we know that the funding rule states that 20% of the apprentices' contracted hours must be spent on off-the-job training. And that ensures that the apprentice has access to substantial training. Because what we know it is no good us banging on about knowledge and behaviors and skills if they can't practice it, if they don't learn it at the workplace. Because we are not at the workplace. We can give them a certain amount of knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge has to come, and from the funding rules, it's 20%, but let's not even worry about that. But it has to come from the employer itself. Because without that, what is happening to the apprentice when you leave the building? When the trainer leaves the building, what is happening? Because if everybody's saying, right, put your books down or get off the computer, just crack on, this is what you have to do, not being taught, that's not an apprenticeship, is it? That's just cheap labour, and that's what we need to get away from. So the Skills for Job white paper has documented that research has shown that awareness and understanding of the apprentice as a model for learning differed widely between the employers on the study. So whilst on and off the job training in sectors such as construction and engineering was far more comprehensive than what was required by the apprenticeship criteria, in retail and social care, it went little beyond training for all staff. So what we're saying is that basically, let's take the 20%. Let's actually ensure that the employer is teaching the apprentice while they are at work to do the skills, not just all of the staff. And that's what's happening. How sad it is for those retail apprenticeships and those care apprenticeships. So working with an employer does not mean a trainer running through a building trying to get hold of someone to sign the paperwork. What they found in this research is that documenting off-the-job training should not be recorded as an ad hoc event in hours only, but training should be planned before the start of the program. That's what the researchers found. Hey ho, it's something that we've been saying forever. You can't just say, well, they've had 5 hours. What is that? And I've seen this happen, that basically on the paperwork, yep, how many hours have they had? You know, I'm doing this as an international sign for an email. How many hours have they had? 5 hours. Oh, yakida. It needs to be a concerted approach. It needs to be planned before the apprenticeship even starts. So again, the trainer running through the building, trying to get hold of somebody to sign the paperwork. Surely the trainer is worth more than that. If the relationship with the employer is not working out, training is not happening, or there's a lack of interest, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get that employer who has taken this person on? And the one thing that we know is when you take somebody on and you employ somebody, you don't just take them on, you take all their family, you take their issues, all of these things, and you're not interested in the training. What are you going to do? It can't carry on, because you cannot pull somebody kicking and screaming through an apprenticeship, because that's not a good experience. The apprenticeship partnership includes the learner, the employer, and the provider. It's the team apprenticeship. Now, I want to know now, is this the norm, or is this in the minority of apprenticeships? When you see the comments, comment on the post. That'd be absolutely great. If you see if you think there's a colleague that you'd like would be interested in this, send this on. If you'd like a chat about your training and whether you think it could be improved, etc., just email me. It's popping in right along on the ticker tape. Just email me. We can have a chat. I love a chat. Love a chat. It's really, really important that we get this right for our apprentices, isn't it? Because if we think about it, every one of them has got really high hopes. And wouldn't it be awful if we start dashing those hopes? One thing we can't have people doing at a young age, that they feel that they failed. That's terrible, isn't it? And let's make sure that the employer is on the apprentice's side. Okay, thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate it. Have a great week. As I say, if you think a colleague would be interested in this, send it on. Please comment. Be really, really interested. I'd really like to know what your experience is. And I'll speak soon. Okay, take care.